well, the elections will come when they come. I would say it's not about the PAP needing a strong mandate, but Singaporeans recognizing that much is at stake for Singapore in this new environment. Because in order to survive, in order to thrive, in order for us to navigate a very challenging global environment, we will need a strong and united Singapore. So there is much at stake in the elections. And when the elections come, I will present my case for the PAP, for me and my team, and I hope Singaporeans will give me the chance to serve them and to serve Singapore.
Mr. Wong, you mentioned about your team. So have you decided on the team that will be going to this general election? You know, how has the progress been? Are you looking at perhaps senior civil servants or military generals? Any people in mind?
It seems like you guys have been tracking them more closely than I have. I've said before, last year at the party conference, that I'm making a great effort to renew our leadership team and to renew the PAP. I've been spending a lot of time doing that in the past 1-2 years. I think it's important because I could have just decided to do less on the renewal front and largely contest with the present team. Things will be okay in one term in the next 5 years. But if there is no renewal, I think we will feel the effects of it, not immediately, not even for the next 5 years, but certainly in the next 10, 15 years, we will feel the effects. And it is, in the end, if that were to happen, it is not just the PAP, but Singapore and Singaporeans that will pay the price. That's why leadership renewal is such a key priority for me, and that's why I've been working very hard in the last 1-2 years, engaging different individuals, persuading and encouraging them to take the step forward to enter politics. I would say I'm glad that some have answered the call. Some public servants have indicated they are prepared to answer the call. At the same time, we continue to recruit from all different sectors, not just within the public service. We also have candidates from the private and people sectors, from academia and many other areas. We usually start with more, and then eventually we finalize to the slate of candidates that we will field in an election. That's quite typical, because we start with more, because along the way we expose them, we test them, and it's a two-way street. Some we may feel not ready this round, we may consider next round. Some themselves, individuals themselves may decide, this is not quite for me, and they may decide perhaps they don't want to continue. And that's why there will inevitably be some who decide not to proceed, and then from a larger group we come down to a eventual slate of candidates which we will field during the election. So you will see faces popping up on the ground. I'm sure the media are closely monitoring who they are, but eventually we will announce a slate of candidates when elections are called.
May I just follow up on both questions on persuading and encouraging potential candidates to join? Have you completed the process? And second question on the date. Okay, will this be your last foreign visit before the G20?
There will be visits. I mean, the international trips that I make happen year-round. When election approaches, obviously I won't be in any position to travel, and I'll focus on elections. But before the elections, or before the campaign, and after the campaign, I will certainly make international visits, and there will be many places to visit, because, like I said, I haven't completed my ASEAN, the visit to all, the introductory visits to all Southeast Asian capitals, and beyond ASEAN, I certainly would have to look forward to visiting other countries too, our key partners, for example, China, India, the US, many other places, Australia. So many places to go to before and after the campaign. What was your first part of the question?
When you have completed the process.
As I said just now, we start with more, and then we eventually pin down the final slate of candidates, and that process is ongoing.
How close are you to completing it?
Yeah, I think you're all asking variations of the same question, so I don't have any more things to add in response to that question.
On a personal note, right, just wondering, how do you feel going into your first GE, leading the party into your first general election contest?
I would say I feel the weight of responsibility, not just as Prime Minister, but as Secretary General of the party, leading the party into an election, recognizing that, as I said just now, Singapore is entering a new environment, a new global environment which will be more challenging, and there is a lot at stake for us and for how we navigate this new environment to ensure our continued survival and our continued success. But I will do my best to present my case, what the party has done as the ruling party in Singapore over the last 5 years, and what our plans are to take Singapore forward in this next phase. And I hope Singaporeans will give me and my team the chance to serve them and to serve Singapore.
Sorry, following up on the previous questions as well, something you mentioned was that aside from the public service, you're also looking at the private sector for candidates, right?
We always do. I mean, it's not, this is not.
Yeah, correct. And I understand that generally it can be harder to convince people from the private sector to join politics. So can you tell us a little bit about how successful you have been this time around, and what are some of the tactics that you've been using to kind of convince them?
Well, we've continued to engage them. We've continued to engage people from across public and private sectors. Some are prepared to step forward, including in the private sector. But obviously, for someone who is in the private sector, who is very successful, for example, in his 30s or 40s, you're talking about someone who is pursuing a corporate sort of career, potentially moving into a senior leadership position in a firm, MNC or large local company, the sacrifice is much greater. And this has always been the case. It's not just now. It's not just a recent phenomenon. It has always been the case. It's always been difficult, and it remains so.
Follow-up question. So what do you look out for in a potential candidate?
That they must have the commitment to serve, the right values, and they are entering politics for the right reason, which is to serve their fellow Singaporeans, to give their all to make Singapore better for their fellow citizens.